You're welcome back. It's still Enterprise Friday. Today, Good Friday. Gunmen have bombed the police divisional headquarters in Anocha, local government area of Anambra State, southeast Nigeria. Residents of the community say hoodlums invaded the police facility in the early hours of Thursday and threw explosive devices into it.
Yes, it is believed that they wanted to free some inmates in the facility, but it's not clear whether the said inmates were indeed freed. But the spokesperson of the police in Anambra State, Tochukwu Ikenga, has confirmed the attack.
He said no life was lost and that the hoodlums neither carted away weapons nor abducted any police operative during the attack, and added that the police operatives were already on the hunt for the perpetrators.
This is not the first time a police facility has been bombed by gunmen in the state and the region. Several police facilities have been attacked and razed by gunmen terrorizing residents across the state and the region. Apart from police facilities, the offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission, local government secretariats, and even private homes have been the target of similar attacks across the region, which has witnessed deteriorating security in recent times.
And hundreds of persons, including security agencies, traditional rulers, and government officials, have been killed or abducted in such attacks.
Yes, so this morning we have very important personalities to discuss on this topic today. And first, we have Emeka Amadu Nago. He is a journalist and also a public affairs commentator. Good morning to you, Emeka, and welcome to Enterprise Friday today.
Yeah, thank you.
And also with us in the studios is Dr. Evans Ufeli. He is a barrister and also a public affairs commentator. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning.
And welcome to Enterprise Friday today.
Thank
Good Friday.
you. It's my pleasure.
All right. So quickly, we have to get into the meaty part of our discussion today, and of course, it involves around the continuous issue of insecurity in our country, our nation, our various regions, and of course, it is touching Anambra State today, the southeast of Nigeria. Now, the question is, how do you think, I'd love to start with you, Doctor, how do you think we can better crystallize this issue? Of course, they've come up to say they are blaming IPOB for that. IPOB saying that it's not them. Now, how do we finally crystallize this issue so we can better understand who are those causing some of the mayhem that we have today, especially in the southeast of Nigeria?
Yeah, it is wrong for the police to just say it's IPOB without carrying out investigation. Yes, on issues like this, there should be investigation as to what has led to the attack. You see, because we're playing with these things, gradually, the southeast is being eroded by insecurity. Before now, we're looking at the up north and say these people have brought upon themselves violence and all that. All of a sudden, through the IPOB's activities, the security network, ECN, and the other pocket of violence here and there, before you know it, the southeast is now engulfed with issues like this. I think there is a need for the governor of that state. I don't want to talk about the federal government now because it's clear that the federal government cannot manage security within a state. It's very clear. And what Lagos State did was to create a trust fund on security, wherein top shots in the state, contribute money into an account, and that fund is used to empower the police independent of the federal government's budgetary allocation for the police. So that is why in Lagos State, every corner you go, you see a stationary vehicle, you see policemen doing what they have to do. How be it that some of them may be ineffective, but it is important we have that presence in a state like Anambra. In the east, Anambra is a boiling pot. If you talk about business, you talk about commerce, you talk about all kinds of things. It's populated, highly populated. That is where you have the Onitsha market that is popular. A state of that kind required the Lagos State model. And I don't know why the current governor, the former CBN governor, is not able to, because when you look at the report, whether from the newspaper, from the internet, he's been scored very low in terms of security. Because right now, everyone has just realized that the federal government police, the federal government forces and the security forces on their own can no longer, handle the security issues of states. So the state have to step in a way. I know that he bought vehicles some time ago, and I saw it on TV and all that, but I think it goes beyond that. What the Lagos State government did is beyond buying vehicles, okay? They did a strategic workout of the security situation, and that's why you have relative peace in Lagos State. So I think that should be done in Anambra too. Here, people are now carrying explosive from point A to point B and throw it into a police station. It's a very dangerous thing to talk about. It didn't start today. INEC offices were attacked. Government secretariat were attacked and all that. And it appears that state have not come out with the state government have not come out with a blueprint, a security solution. Gone are the days where you sit and say it is the federal government that manages defense and security. Gone are those days. If you do that now, your state will be eroded by violence. So let the government of that state come up with a security solution and then get the police, the federal police in. Then in the long run, the discourse on state police is still ongoing. So I think that is what should be done in that state.
All right. Before I allow you, Junior, I think it's very important that I ask this question, especially to Emeka. Anambra is your state. Yeah. And I think no one has a better understanding of the structure of the state, especially when it comes to governance in the state. Doctor did mention Soludo and his capacity to handle security in the state. Now, I would love you to help us, bring us up to speed on the issue of good governance in the state, coming from Soludo itself, things he has done and things he hasn't done, and what you think he should do better to help ensure there's sustainable security in the state. Of course, I would also love you to mention, as part of your answers, the issue of how he's been able to tackle the issue. In 2003, a U.S. consulate member was killed and also attacked. He was equally attacked at some point during his electioneering time. So help us, bring us to speed what you think is happening in Anambra State.
Okay, let me take your questions one by one.
Yeah.
What he has done, Soludo has actually used the carrot and the stick approach, aided by security agencies, in getting across to the so-called unknown gunmen, and then also identifying the fact that there was some causative factors. It's not just about IPOB. That is a lazy way to approach it. And I've argued this thing with people from other parts of the country. But you see, when the problem we have in Nigeria, when there's a fixation, we just believe, we hook to that fixation and nothing else matters. So I just allow people, I say, well, you can dwell in your delusion, but facts remain sacred. Now, one point was this. You see, alongside the IPOB issues, sundry criminals, then, politicians who had so much money, but didn't have a group and were looking for prominence, now threw in so much fuel into the works. The violence was a perfect cover for them. And then you now had native doctors who were actually, promoting wealth by dubious means, what they call okite. That is, that they could just push you to wealth quickly. So then some events that took place. There was a party that took place some years ago in one town. The quantum of cash that was thrown around, people said that, listen, this town will be irretrievably damaged by this thing.
What party particularly?
No, I don't want to mention the name, but you see, people who can remember, they will know the party I'm talking about. Is the prominent socialite in Nigeria. They threw so much cash that the whole town, people were watching, what? Does this kind of money exist in this country? So that led to a spiral. Youths who are unemployed, youths who are demotivated, you're now throwing money about, and they say, wait a minute, what will it take? Is it not just get a gun, learn how to shoot a gun, join a gang, And so cultism, which is a major problem that the security agencies are not pointing at. Different from the IPOB thing. The IPOB guys have their own issues, but much more than that is cultism. It's a nationwide problem. So you have a lot of cultists hiding under, this IPOB thing is a perfect cover for them to move around and do things. So you see like those people who are held in that facility may have been cultists, big time cultists. Okay. So, or thugs, or enforcers of some politicians. So you are now trying to go and free them. But one good thing Soludo has done is at least in collaboration with security agencies, he's been able to locate their hideouts around Osumowo, Iyala, Asia, then Aguleze Chukwu, the forest, thick forest there, and he has been able to displace them largely. But you see, one problem that fuels this thing is that from what I got, from underground investigations, that beyond buying vehicles, Soludo has refused to invest money in technology. And representations have been made to him.
Now, when you say technology, what specifically are you talking about?
Oh, there are different kinds of technology, tracking, geolocation, all those things, which the Lagos State government, you see, in this country, give it to Lagos State. Give it to Lagos State. Whatever we might say about Lagos State. You see, there are certain things that Lagos State government has done, which other states are just copying here and there. But in the southeast, Imo State has invested heavily in technology. That's why it's been easy for, the security to be able to track some of these guys. When they come out, they can locate them very easily. But Anambra State, Soludo, I don't know why. He has refused to invest heavily in security, and this is top-notch information I'm giving you. Now, the other side of it is this. Now, insecurity has been turned into a commodity in the southeast by security agencies, which is unfortunate. You can imagine a short stretch of the Onitsha-Owerri, just Onitsha-Owerri Road, it has been turned to a business enterprise, especially by the Nigerian Army. Different checkpoints. In fact, the checkpoints have even increased this year. Checkpoints. Some checkpoints, they will tell people to alight and walk down and board their vehicles. And we wonder, how does that affect the price of fish in the market? How does that solve the insecurity situation? Because these boys, they are not stupid now. Sometimes they move on bikes through the villages. There are linking villages. How many times do they move on the highway? Do you think, okay, they will sit in a vehicle and be holding an AK-47, then holding improvised devices, IEDs, and say, okay, please come and catch us. So we are here. We are going for an operation. No. So the point is that government should try to reduce these checkpoints because they are causing so much agony, anguish to the people. And then follow up with technology, follow up with the raids. As of last month, early this month and late last month, there were some operations around the Yala, which displaced a number of these characters by whatever designation they've given to themselves. So it's an ongoing thing. It should be continuous. It should be continuous. But I think beyond that, there's a general problem with youth disorientation in Nigeria. Youth not wanting to work, get rich quick. They want to get rich quick, and easily succumbing to the influence of ill-gotten wealth, influence of politicians, So something needs to be done about it. Then just to add to it that in Nigeria, one of the problems is that you have mobile criminals. They can move from Ambazonia in Cameroon, which is a troubled area of Cameroon. They can move from Ambazonia through the creeks of Niger Delta, connect the Atlantic Ocean, come to Lagos, carry out an operation, and disappear. They can go to Kogi State or Ondo State, attack banks, disappear. And they work hand in hand with all these bandits and all that. So it's a network Thank God the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit recently, just some days ago, they revealed it. So it's a network. We might be talking of tribalism dividing us. No, in the criminal world, they work hand in hand. So government needs to identify all these things. And the government is working, but deal with them more decisively. And also to mention that the churches are also trying in the Southeast. Because let me tell you, in the Southeast, church leaders are very influential. They are even more influential than traditional rulers. Yes, I can tell you that even a local Catholic priest, parish priest, if he makes a pronouncement, is weightier than what a traditional ruler makes. Yes. So the government should also continue to work with the churches to, help in
reorientation.
Yes, reorientation.
All right. Thank you so much, Emeka, for your thoughts. Quite instructive. I'll just, direct my question to Barrister Evans. I like that you've touched on some factors why we see what we are saying in terms of non-state players almost taking over, and then I believe that this is directed at the government and its lawful agents. It's quite unfortunate what we see happening in Anambra State. But as a solution-centric person, that's Barrister Evans now, can you give us prescribe a step-by-step approach the government can adopt in terms of stemming the tide of insecurity, even though you have adduced that the federal government do not have the willpower to fight insecurity? We cannot totally lose our fidelity in the federal government. Prescribe a step-by-step approach that you would like to see the federal government take to ensure that what we see play out will be stemmed.
Well, I think the federal government, looking at the level of insecurity we've seen, the federal government have always gotten it wrong by throwing money into all situations. Just throw money into it, give them more money. Like when we're talking about palliatives not too long ago, people are saying they couldn't find because palliative is insecurity. It's a solution to insecurity. When you say subsidy is gone, and people were crying that we've not gotten palliatives and all that. The next thing the federal government said, go and meet your governors, we have increased their money. Come and see the record. This is what we have given them. That's the approach that the federal government thinks it will use to diffuse the level of insecurity. You see, the level of insecurity in the land is not unconnected to the high rate of poverty. Poverty is at the heart of these things. And wherever you have poverty in the scale we have it today, you cannot have security, you cannot have peace. You understand? So let the federal government look into how to empower the citizens. If you empower citizens, they will be so preoccupied with work, labor, business, that they won't have the time. Because now, we don't even know those who are habitual criminal and those who are criminal by survivor. You understand? In countries like Iceland, where there's zero crime rate, if anybody commits a crime now, you know that this one is habitual. What he needs is not terms of imprisonment, but therapy. People who steal what they have, they were habitual. But here, people are stealing to survive. The other day, said somebody's soup was stolen by another person. Can you say that the man who took somebody's soup, can you say that he took it because the soup is so much of value that he can convert it to cash and become rich? You can't say that. So what those people need is maybe empowerment, loan, soft loan, or something that will get them. Many of them are artisans. Some of them are farmers. But they will tell you that they are stranded and they have to survive. Survival is the strongest instinct in man. Once a man's survival is threatened by hunger, he begins to roam about. He begins to look for something that he will take to go sell, or that he will just look for something to do. And so if the federal government can empower, I don't know how they're going to do it, because we don't even have the data. Nigeria's problem is complicated. We need to know, because they talk about the poorest of the poor, and when you check the list, you find politicians putting their village people and all that. So at the end of the day, it's convoluted. if we can devise the right data, okay, check people and their origin. There are people who are a succeeding generation, the 10th succeeding generation of poverty. Like, you cannot, you see, the thing about it is this: his father was poor, his grandfather was poor, his great-grandfather was poor, stretched to 10th generation, and now you have the 10th generation that are looking at people throwing money all over the place, people making money through cyber crime, people making money through kidnapping, and you expect them to just watch and say, they will go and inquire how these monies are made, especially when they don't have good educational background. They have low academic cognitives. What you have is they will make inquiry, they will go and look for how to break the hood of poverty. And you know what poverty? It takes an average of 20 years to come out from poverty. But if you are a 10th generation of it, it will give you more, because poverty is even stronger than wealth. It's stronger because what it takes to keep you down is stronger than what it takes to pull you out. So if the federal government can address, I keep saying about this thing about empowering the people. And empowerment does not mean giving them loan or money. The federal government should create programs in the primary schools, programs on entrepreneuring. You understand? Everyone have a deposit of talent, okay? But when people have deposit of talent and they don't know how to mechanize the talent, or they don't know how to bring it to the fore, if you begin to teach entrepreneurship in the primary school, just like they do in China, once you finish your basics, from the essence of the basics is to identify your talent. Once it is identified at the age of 6, 7, that's primary school, what they call primary school. Once your talent is identified at the age of 6, 7, because by 6, 7, you're already showing signs of it. They take you directly to a trade school, what they call technical school here. Then from that level, you build up stretch through what you're expected to do. But our educational system seems to be defeating the purpose of growth, development, and wealth, where you are asked to be doing everything, the one that concerns you and the one that does not concern you, from primary to secondary, from secondary to the university. From the university, you are reading more. You are reading more. And sometimes what you are reading is not codified, not directly connected to what you should be doing. The lost ground, you come out, you start to wear tie and be walking all over the place. So let's rethink our educational system and our training models. Now, the Southeast we are talking about, the same Southeast we are talking about, Harvard identified the apprenticeship system, one boy of this same Southeast as the surest way to build wealth in the 21st century. It does not fail. You go to the village, you take a one boy, the one boy begins to learn the trade at a very tender age. He gets to a point where he now becomes independent. Okay? You open another shop. That shop is not his. You take him there to manage that. You bring other people there. He teaches those people before he graduates. When he graduates, you now settle him. He opens his own. Go to the village, bring more people. Before you know it, you have
value change.
Yeah, before you know it, you have 6 generation of wealth creation. The model is Harvard took, before you know it now, 10, 20 years from now, we'll be going to Harvard to study it.
Culture for the people, very true.
Something that's indigenous to us. You understand? That is what happened also in the days of yore. Calculus, Pythagoras, they all learned from the Egyptian hieroglyphics, where writing and arithmetic was taught in Egypt. They learned it in Africa. But now, you cannot, is there anybody from Egypt who we can attribute to algebra? Okay, algebra is Arabic, okay? But the rest of them, the Pythagoras, the tails, the major founding fathers of arithmetic and mathematics are not Africans, but they came to Africa to study it. Some years later, we are now being taught that as a product of the West. So I think what we have, if government can understudy what we have, it is sufficient and is enough. We can, even this native doctor you were talking about, deities. The white men came here to carry our deities because of the potency. You understand? We can also manage that. Yeah, it's resources. It's natural resources. You have native doctors, gather them, like 200 of them. Let them invoke the heavens. Let them invoke, let's change our situation. You understand? We can have solution. So what we have is so much, but what we get is so little. And we continue to have insecurity as long as you are not able to manage your resources, whether the resources are subterranean, or the resources are on the surface, or the resources are tied to the supersensible. You must harness your resources and make sure that you're able to. The government will need to do so much. The state, the sub-regional government too, must do what they ought to do. You see, because the lasting solution is not to get soldiers on the road or go into the bush to look for the criminals or try to stop cultism. That is addressing the problem from the top. People are into criminality because they are displaced, they are poor, they want to change their story overnight. Yes. But if you are taking care of them from the primary school and you have shown them the way, you have shown them how your future is guaranteed, then they will not go into all those.
Thank you.
You see, this is so very much interesting. For the want of time, there were some very important questions I would have loved to ask, especially as it pertains to Nnamdi Kanu in the picture. Right. It's still being held, and lots of people in the region are saying maybe if possibly he's released, it will down a little bit the issue of insecurity in the state. I do not know how far that can go, but that's a topic for another day. Well, that's about the time we have on this segment, and we'd love to thank both gentlemen for being part of our show today. Thank you both for being part of our show. It was really an interesting discussion.
Thank you for your time. Well, it's our Good Friday special on Enterprise Friday, and one more subject for conversation. He died for all, that they who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and was raised again. A conversation on Good Friday is up next.
A great time having you. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetv.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Igwe.
And I'm Chinyere Igwe Odo.
Yes, on behalf of the entire team, thank you so very much once more. Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV,